Yes, indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, we're previewing UFC Nashville. Jake Paul is going to fight Nate Diaz this weekend. And Conor McGregor's got some new plans, some new ideas. Let's get Fred in here.
Let's go!
Yes. Okay. There we go. We're live. Where's Fred? There he is. What's up, dude?
Not much. You
know, hanging in there. We're rolling just you and me tonight. We got no AJ. AJ's on vacation?
Yep.
Is that
enjoying family life.
You're so much nicer to AJ when he's not here compared to how he is when you're not here. You know, when you're not here, AJ says so many things about you, says you're off in, at strip clubs or whatever, doing all sorts of nasty business. You just speak kindly of AJ. Such a gentleman.
AJ's projecting what he would be doing, so
yeah,
he's probably at a strip club right now.
Knowing AJ, he's probably in the chat of the show right now, joining Lior and Lorne and 12-15%. I bet you AJ's going to be in the chat. Although Lior says, who's a member of the team over at join.ringsidereport.net, YouTube member says, no chat versus AJ tonight. Yeah, which is disappointing. I like when the chat goes against AJ. But I guess they'll have to go against me or you tonight, Fred. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just be on our side. I think that's usually how things go. People are on our side and against AJ. Although some people are pro-AJ, but they don't seem anti-us, It's not like they're against us. They're just like they like AJ and think we're a little hard on him, but they also understand why we're hard on him sometimes. We had a good time with him Saturday night watching the UFC pay-per-view. That was a decent pay-per-view.
I mean, his parlay failed in the end.
Yeah. It was close, though, right? Wasn't he one fight away?
Yeah, the last fight.
Took Poirier. Shouldn't have taken Poirier.
And I think my parlay went 0 for 3, so yeah, that was a bad night for me.
I think mine went 1-1 or something. Wasn't so bad. But I gave a couple underdog picks that cashed in. I wound up making a couple bucks at UFC 291. Justin Gaethje winning that BMF title might have cashed him some big checks in the future. Probably cashed some big checks on Saturday night, but he might get that Conor McGregor fight now because Conor wants to fight him. Conor doesn't want to fight Chandler anymore.
If I'm Justin Gaethje, I'm not falling for the trap, man. Look, Chandler fell for it, man. He thought he was going to fight Conor, and Justin Gaethje, you better not start believing that Conor's going to fight you because I don't think Conor's fighting anybody right now. He's just keeping his name out there. He still hasn't submitted a USADA test, so that's an issue. So, I mean, I don't believe Conor is fighting anytime soon. And if I'm Chandler, heck, try challenging Gaethje, man. Chandler versus Gaethje or something. I don't know, man. But these two guys need to forget about Conor.
I think Chandler did challenge Gaethje. I think he did on Saturday night, that BMF needs a real challenger or something. Chandler is already looking past Conor because he knows it's probably not happening. But Conor is looking at that BMF title too. Conor tweeted out an hour ago. I've got the breaking news tweet. Oh, it's gone. He deleted it. But guess what? I'm still on his page. So you can see it, even though he deleted it. I clicked on the tweet, and it's oh, it's gone. But if you just go back, it's there. Hold on. Let me show you. He's deleted it. What a sneaky guy. Tweet and delete. Although I don't think they're not called tweets anymore, right? They're called X posts or something. You're not tweeting anymore. You're posting, and you're not retweeting. You're reposting because it's not technically called Twitter anymore. It's X. Is that real?
I don't know. I'm not on X or Twitter.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Is Twitter X or is it Twitter? Because I still call it Twitter and I still refer to them as tweets, but is that incorrect now? Because I think it's incorrect. Anyways.
It's always going to be Twitter, man. It's like that Facebook and Meta thing. Does
Yeah.
anybody actually call it Meta? I don't think so. Everybody calls it Facebook. When you're Facebook or your Twitter, you don't need to rebrand your name. I don't get it.
But Meta is like the parent company to Facebook because they also own Instagram, right? So I think when people refer to Meta, they refer to the kind of company that owns Facebook and Instagram and probably other things that I'm not aware of. And then Twitter is just Twitter. Like Elon Musk owns Twitter, right? But he changed it to X. Anyways. There you go. It's the only X you represent. Degeneration X. So here's the Conor tweet that he's deleted. Regardless of that nonsense match, me and Nate will be completing the trilogy. I am going to grab the BMF belt right quick for us to compete for it in the trilogy. What? He's going to grab the BMF belt right quick for us to compete for it in the trilogy. So Conor is getting excited about Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz has got a fight coming up this weekend. So Conor's getting on his Twitter or his X, and he's saying things but then deleting them because look what happens when you click on the tweet. This page doesn't exist. What happened? Conor deleted it. And he also posted this. Fuck Chandler. And he also deleted that. That's also gone now. Good job, Conor. So I don't know what Conor's trying to do, but Gaethje might get the fight with Conor now, which is pretty good. Although Gaethje didn't seem too interested on fighting him because he thinks Conor's on steroids. He said that at the press conference after the fight. He's like, I don't know if I want to fight that guy. He might be on steroids. I'm not trying to fight anybody on steroids.
Thanks.
Which, fair enough. Because like you said, Conor still hasn't entered the drug testing pool. And it's coming up on 8-9 months since he was supposed to start, since he said he was going to be in the drug testing pool.
Well, Chandler last fought in November 2022. And I feel not long after that loss that he had, Chandler lost. The Conor fight was mentioned like pretty much right after Chandler's last fight. So, yeah, it's been a while, man, and Chandler's losing a lot of time. And Conor is just like prolonging this. He's just adding time and keeping his name relevant. Like you say, Nate Diaz fighting this weekend. So Conor's like, hey, let me try to get my name into this little circus here so that people say, see that I'm still alive. But it doesn't mean much, man. It's Conor just trying to get his name out there. He loves to hear his name being talked about. But I still don't see him fight. And even if he fights, I don't see him being relevant. But yeah, I'll watch it, man. Conor, stop talking and come back, man. Come on.
It is kind of a cool trick that he's pulled, though, right? Like, every time there's a fight, every time there's an event, anybody near his weight division, 170 or 155, he's talking about it, and there's a story about him. And people are asking questions like, are you going to fight Conor? Anytime anybody wins high profile at 155 or 170, they get a question about Conor McGregor. He keeps his name out there. Every time there's a fight, he's there tweeting. Like, Gaethje, Poirier are fighting. O'Connor's going to tweet about that. This weekend, whatever happens, Nate Diaz and Jake Paul, Connor's going to say he would destroy the winner. Whoever won, he would destroy him, and the other guy's a bum, and he would, It's what he does.
But, I mean, yeah, but he doesn't fight or win in so long, man. At some point, man, it's just like blah, 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 yada, yada, yada.
I know.
I mean, who cares, man? I don't know,
we're
man.
still talking about him.
I know, but
name.
we're talking about him because people want to talk about him, and that's the part I don't understand is why people still want to see Conor fight, man. The guy's losing nonstop, man. Why be behind a loser?
Yeah, he's the biggest personality the sport's ever had. He's still, I still believe that there's a part of Conor McGregor, if he was serious, that could win some fights. Like, I think if the best version of Conor comes out and fights Justin Gaethje, he could probably beat him because we've seen this level of Conor that is pretty damn good. Like when he knocked out Eddie Alvarez, like that was peak Conor McGregor, and he was pretty good at that point, And it seems like he's declined since then. Oh, it's a long time ago, man. But I feel like he's not that old, and there's no reason why he couldn't get back to that other than lifestyle and whatever else is going on.
I don't think he has the drive no more. Like when he defeated Jose Aldo, defeated Eddie Alvarez, became the 2-division champ, he was hungry and he wanted to, like, he was making good money, but he wanted to make like crazy money. Now that he's made crazy money, I don't think he has the drive to be a top level fighter. And he just keeps his name in there. And yes, he's going to fight again and it's going to be entertaining. I mean, the guy's talented and if he's on roids, he's still in shape. Whether he's on roids or not, he still looks in decent shape.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's taking it seriously where he's going to be training for 8 weeks nonstop and not only that, it's not only taking one fight, it's making it like another fight and another fight. If Conor's going to fight and then take another 18 to 2 years off, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, why care? Yeah, I'll watch, but I don't care that much.
But it's not like, I think you got to forgive the layoff for Conor because he had a fight where he got his leg broken. And we haven't seen him since 2021 because he got his leg broken. But he fought twice in 2021. He lost to Poirier in January of that year and then fought him again in July. And he hasn't fought since, but, I mean, he suffered a serious injury that required surgery that kept him out of action for a long time. That may have got him on some other substances, and who knows what's gone on in the interim. But I think that injury was serious. I mean, we know how bad it was. We saw the break. We saw his leg. And I think that took its toll. But it's been 2 years now since that. It's been 7 years since the Eddie Alvarez fight. 7 years, man. That's a long time. And he's 35 now. You know, like, it's... Yeah.
And you mentioned those two Poirier fights. Yeah, you're right. But I'll say, like, he looked bad in the first one that he lost, the January one.
Yeah.
And in the second one, I think Poirier also was doing very well. So, like, yeah, he fought twice that year and made a lot of money. But I didn't see anything to tell me that Conor McGregor will be a player in any division to win a title or anything like that. Yeah, he's going to give us marquee fights. He's going to give us some showmanship. He's going to give us some entertainment. He's going to give us a lot. I don't want to bring all of that down, but I just don't see him being relevant. And as far as this whole like BMF title also is like, I don't really care about the BMF title. I want to see Conor versus Gaethje. That I do. Like, you don't have to give me some stupid BMF title to make me interested in that. I want to see Conor versus Nate, the trilogy. Same thing. I don't need a BMF title. I just want to see those fights.
I don't know if I want to see Conor against Gaethje. I don't know if that's necessary. I think Conor and Chandler was the right fight for Conor. Chandler's going to present a better style matchup. He's older than Conor by a couple years. You know, where Gaethje's younger than Conor by a year. He's more active. He's winning fights. The Justin Gaethje we saw on Saturday night, I think, puts a real beating on Conor McGregor. And, like, he's a cash cow. You don't want to bring your cash cow in to get smashed up on his comeback fight. If you're the UFC, it's kind of a dumb move, right? You want to give him a fight that's winnable. They thought the Michael Chandler fight was winnable. They tried to get him to take that fight. He seems like he's not interested in that fight. Because if he really wanted to fight Michael Chandler, like, he could have got it done already, right? Like, if he wanted to. And, like, okay, cycle off your shit, whatever you're on. Get into the drug testing program. How long will it take you to get off whatever you're on, to get that out of your system? 3 months? 6 months? Because if it's 6 months, I mean, it should have been done by now. So either you don't want to cycle off whatever you're doing, you can't cycle off whatever you're doing, or, like, there's deeper issues at play. Maybe he's got some substance problems. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't actually want to fight in the UFC anymore, and it's all just posturing, which is fine. If it keeps the brand going and it, you know, but he's fooling the UFC. In the meanwhile, he's like kind of tricking the UFC into thinking, we're going to get this guy, but maybe they won't. I really wonder what the conversations are like between Dana and Conor these days. You know? Like that's what I want to know. Like, what is Dana really thinking about Conor? Because like he's saying one thing, but there's got to be something else behind the scenes where he's like, can we get this motherfucker in USADA already? Can we get him fighting? Is there a way we can get a loophole of USADA and get Conor in the octagon dirty as hell? Because Dana wants him in there. The bosses want him in there. Vince McMahon, whoever. It's a real mess what they have going. And they're so quiet about it. Like Dana, usually when Dana has a problem with a fighter, he's going to shit all over him in public. Even with current champions, he'll say negative things about him, like Aljamain Sterling, right? Like Dana's not scared to say things about his champions. But with Conor, he's been very quiet. And if he says anything, it's like, we'll get him in. We'll see what we can do. USADA, we'll deal with it. But he's not mad. He's not on the attack in the press. It's weird that Dana's just kind of like, guess we got to wait it out.
He appreciates all the money that Conor made them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't know. At some point, Dana should be like, yeah, this is ridiculous a little bit. Come on, Conor. Get USADA. Either you're fighting or you're not. But at the same time, if you're Dana White, Conor's just giving you some publicity, whether he's fighting or not. People are talking about it, so that sort of gives publicity to the UFC, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's super weird. And there's AJ in the chat. Fucking AJ. Why isn't AJ on the show?
Because he's out of dollars to give to the stripper.
Ooh. He's pulling a John Jones right now, going back to the room, trying to check the safe. Take it easy there, AJ. Terrible. Yeah, well, it doesn't look like Conor's going to be fighting in 2023 because he's still not in USADA, and it's August, and you got to be in that thing for 6 months. So time's up. It's not happening. Conor can't change time. Johnny North wants to know where's AJ. I mean, I don't know. Ask AJ. I think he's on vacation or something. Or at the strip club. Who knows where AJ's at? He's slapping nuts at the strip club. I don't know what strip club he's at, but he just said slap nuts. All right, AJ. Take it easy, man. Lior says, I think Blachowicz versus Pereira round 3 was way closer than what you thought. I remember you called Ben
a lot of people think that.
Crazy last week, but Pereira didn't throw many punches at all in that round. I guess I got to look at that round again. When watching it, Yan looked kind of gassed and Pereira seemed in control, but maybe it was closer. I have seen, people thinking that Yan may have won. Yan thinks he got robbed. It was a close fight. It was 1 round apiece, and I thought Pereira edged it out in the third, but I think you could probably make an argument for both guys. I'd have to watch the fight again.
I've wanted to rewatch that fight because I read a lot of people felt that Yan got robbed, and we were all of the opinion that Pereira won. Mm-hmm. But I would need to rewatch it. I feel that's the thing. Okay, the first round, it was an excellent fight. The first round, I felt Yan went hard for that takedown, and it was hard. That takedown wasn't easy to get. He fought a guillotine, and he ended up getting that takedown. But even once he got that takedown, Pereira was still fighting it. He was trying to get up, and Yan was on his back. It took some time for him to finally stretch him out to the floor and be able to do some damage. And I think that took a lot out of Yan. In the second and third round, he just didn't have the same energy. So that's why I felt that Pereira won those 2 last rounds, round 2 and 3. But yeah, it could have been very close. I didn't pay that much attention to see how much damage Pereira did. But the whole vision I had from the third round was that Yan was completely gassed and didn't have much to give no more. So that's the reason why I give it to Pereira. Like you said, it was a close fight. So when it's a close fight, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't.
Was the third round the one where Yan got a takedown and held it for a little bit, but Pereira got up pretty quickly?
I think it was, yeah.
Maybe that's why people were scoring it more for Yan, but I just think Yan did so little with that takedown that it should barely count for anything. I mean, there was nothing there. He didn't. Like, even if you take a guy down and you pass to like side control and you could get a pin there and hold him for a bit, land an elbow or two, fine. But if you take a guy down, you get him in guard, he stays in guard, and then he gets to his feet like a minute later, and you don't throw anything. I don't know how much that should count for.
Pereira had also some success with the leg kicks. I think that hurt Yan. And I'll tell you what, man, Pereira at 205, I felt he looked fresh in the third round. So maybe, less of a weight cut will help him in the long run to look fresher in the deeper rounds. But I liked his performance. I think he was very resilient from that first round. That was a tough first round for him also. Like, Pereira fought a lot to not let Yan get comfortable at any point. So it showed a lot of character from both guys, and I was happy with the fight overall. I thought Pereira won, but I could see the argument the other side.
Yeah, but I agree with you as far as how Pereira looked. He just looked more in control in that third round. And when you're judging it on points, you also got to judge it a little bit on... I like, who would win if this fight went on forever? Like, if this fight goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 rounds, whatever, until one man is done, who's in a better position at the end of the fight to be the last man standing? And Yan looked like he had trouble standing. I think you got to put some of that in there. But it definitely opens up some good fights at 205. And the best part of it being a close fight that people thought maybe Yan won is that Yan is still one of the top challengers in the division. Like, Pereira didn't smash Jan Blachowicz into retirement. He didn't knock him out in the first round and make you go, oh, well, Yan just doesn't have the chin anymore. Jan Blachowicz is still a very good light heavyweight, even at 40 years old. And I think, is he 40? He's like 40, right? I think he could still do damage at 205. Like, I think he's got it to mix it up with the best guys in the division, and he's not going anywhere, and we're going to keep seeing Jan Blachowicz. Like, I could see him fight Jamal Hill in some sort of mini tournament where they do Yuri versus Pereira next for the light heavyweight belt, and then they do Jamal Hill versus Yan for an interim belt, and then they have the winners of those two fights fight each other for the undisputed belt. Because right now, the light heavyweight championship is in a weird spot, right? You have Yuri Prohaska, who was the champion, but he had to give up the belt due to injury. And then Jamal Hill became the new champion, but he had to give up the belt due to injury. But in between those two fights, those two injuries and champions, we had a title fight between Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz that went to a draw, so nobody became champion, but still, like, Yan and Magomed are in the mix of, like, they were in a title fight that neither man really won, so also neither man lost. So there's a lot of guys in the division that have a claim at the belt. So it's a weird division right now. So even though you could have, like, Yuri and Pereira first for the undisputed championship, I would almost do Jamal Hill versus Jan Blachowicz as well for an interim championship. Because I think you could have, like, two champions in this division, because Yuri is the champion, but Jamal Hill is also kind of the champion, Because if he never gets hurt and Yuri comes back, well, Yuri has to fight Jamal Hill to become champion. So if Yuri is going to come back and fight, say, Pereira or not Jamal Hill, because it looks like Jamal Hill won't be ready in time because of injury, I think when Jamal Hill comes back, he should get an interim title shot, and then we do it tournament style. That's what I would do.
I don't think we'll get a tournament, but hopefully all these guys get in shape and we get the matchups that decide the best fighters. But yeah, there's like 5 or 6 guys that could contend for that title right now. Jamal Hill, Yuri, Magomed, Yan, Pereira. That's already 5 guys right there. There's a lot of names that are in the mix. and any of these guys could end up being champions. So good for the division to have that much talent, and that shows you like John Jones left that division and it opened it up a little bit. It made I still believe John Jones is better than all these guys.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's gone, it makes the division fun because so many guys are now fighting for the top position. So we're going to get some good matchups in the next couple of months, years, and hopefully all these guys stay in shape.
And I feel like on any given night, any one of those guys you mentioned could be champion. Like, the fights are so close between them. Like, look at Magomed and Yan. Look at Yan and Pereira. You know, we've had some really close fights between these guys. I'm not really sure where they rank. I'm not sure if Yuri is better than Jamal Hill. I think you'd have to put Yuri and Jamal Hill as the 1 or 2. But, like, what about, you know, who's 1 and who's 2? I really don't know. Who's 3? Who's 4? Who's 5? Who's 6? Magomed Ankalaev is supposed to fight Johnny Walker in October at UFC 294. So if Johnny Walker, you know, makes it a close fight or wins, then he's in the mix too. And you have the top 6 at light heavyweight that I think are interchangeable. I think anything could happen between a lot of these guys. It's going to be up to one of them to distinguish themselves and kind of beat everybody else. I'm not sure who that's going to be, though. Is it going to be Yuri? Is it going to be Jamal Hill? Is it going to be Magomed? Is it going to be Pereira? I mean, Yan suffered a loss, but it was a close fight. He might come back, and like, he's the older one of all of them, but I think he's still there, right? It's a cool division.
I'm hoping that they end up making the Yuri and Pereira fight. I just think stylistically that fight's going to be incredible. 2 guys that like to bang and are very good strikers also, technically and everything. So I hope that's the first fight that ends up getting done. And from there, man, I hope Jamal Hill isn't injured too long, but I think it's Achilles. What is it that he injured? Like that takes a while to come back. So maybe, you know, Magomed gets a title shot if he's impressive against Johnny Walker. But the first fight they need to make is Yuri versus Alex Pereira, and hopefully it gets done like at the latest January or February. That would be good.
A lot of fun matchups. AJ's in Lake George, New York, he's telling us. And Johnny North is saying Dave versus SAS would not be a close fight. Who's SAS? And is that me, Dave?
Stephen A. Smith? I don't know. That's the only SAS I would know.
Oh, yeah, I tweeted about him. He said some dumb shit about the Yankees. I guess that's what Johnny North is referring to. I'm like, what? Who? SAS? Yeah, he said some.
What did he say?
He said that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, IKF, should be off the team, and he couldn't even pronounce the guy's name. And he's been one of the only guys producing for the Yankees for the past, like, 2 months. And he's like, this guy should be off the team. Kiner-Falefo. I'm like, it's Kiner-Falefa, man. It's IKF. Goddamn, put some respect. And I'm like, oh, this guy knows about as much about the Yankees as he does about MMA. I don't understand how this Stephen A. Smith guy goes on TV talking about sports that he really doesn't know much about. Maybe he knows more about basketball and football, but his Yankee talk, I mean, he's getting roasted on Yankees Twitter right now. Yankees Twitter is just destroying Stephen A. Smith because he looked like an absolute fool messing with our boy Kiner-Falefa. You don't mess with IKF, all right? He's our guy. He's been kicking ass. Had a great throw yesterday. Beautiful play.
He's a
Beat
New
the Rays
Yorker,
yesterday.
so Stephen A. is a New Yorker, so he's like a bandwagon New York Yankee fan. He just jumps on it.
I get it. He's not like really a Yankee fan every day. He doesn't know the team. But he's a sports guy. It's weird how some of these sports guys... The thing is, like, it's weird how they can't... like, how they expose themselves, you know? How sometimes they go on, like, international television and they'll say something so crazy and dumb where people that actually know what they're talking about go, what? What the hell are you talking about? But they're, like, big names and paid big money for their sports opinions that seem kind of half-assed and really, you know, not great. But I don't know, man. It's strange to me. But you got to understand, like, it's impossible to know all the sports. Like, I was in sports radio for a long time. Like, nobody knows all the sports. Some of these guys pretend to know everything about all the sports. You know how many sports there are? You know how many teams? You know how many players on every team? Players in the farm system that you should know about if you're really... Like, I don't know shit about Major League Baseball. I know everything about the Yankees. I can know one team. I can't know every team in baseball unless I dedicated my whole life to knowing everything in baseball. And guess what? If I knew baseball inside and out, I wouldn't be able to know MMA and professional wrestling the way I do. It'd be too much. And I certainly wouldn't be able to add football, soccer, hockey, and basketball to the mix. Like these sports guys that go like Stephen A. Smith, who pretends to know everything about sports, and people are like, oh, this guy's an idiot. It's like, well, he can't know everything. You can't know everything. There's only one guy I've ever known who knew everything about all the sports, and he was very dedicated and liked to put money on it, so he had a rooting interest. And he still does it, and he does it very well, right? Very well. But, you know, you got to be 24/7, and he is 24/7. I don't think he sleeps, you know? And that's what he does. 24/7, he knows about all the sports. He's putting money on all the sports, and if you want to do it, I mean, you can do it, but it's hardcore, you know? I could do it for MMA. I could do it for wrestling. I could do it for the New York Yankees because I love them. But I don't know.
Sports media has become more about the entertainment than the actual value of what they're talking. Like mainstream sports media, unfortunately, is about like having a personality and being flamboyant or just having the it that's going to make people watch you. And that doesn't often, unfortunately, have to do with your sports knowledge. It has more to do with, like I say, your personality. I think that's the sports media of these days, and that's what Stephen A. Smith excels at. He's the best at it, but he doesn't know much about sports.
Oh, it's weird though to make your living in sports knowledge and not really know about sports. I guess.
Well, I mean, he knows basketball.
Okay.
He's great at basketball. He's covered basketball for years, so I'm not going to doubt his basketball knowledge. And you know what?
But does he though? Because you're not a big NBA guy, because we see him talking about MMA, and we're like, "What the hell are you saying, man?" Because you know MMA inside out. But like, if you were inside out basketball, like really deep, and all you knew was basketball in your life, would you look at Stephen A. Smith and go, "He knows basketball," or would you look at him and go, "He doesn't know"? He's talking about?
I'll go first of all, he has connections. So when he's talking about like scoops or information, I believe him because he has a lot of information with a lot of players. He's close to a lot of them and coaches. So on that matter, yeah. But then he brings it to other sports. And I think in basketball, he's definitely that. He is that person. But in other sports, he's probably faking it. But he's making so much money. He could pay somebody to, fill him the info. It's like, hey, here's my MMA guy. You want to be my MMA guy? Just give me all the pointers I need to know. And that's probably how he does it. I'm just speculating, though.
No, that's for sure how he does it. But I mean, he doesn't know how to pronounce the guy's name. He doesn't know how to pronounce Isaiah Kiner Falefa. You should have seen how these guys were pronouncing his name. Neither guy. I don't even know. The other guy didn't know how to pronounce his name. IKF, man. You don't know IKF? I'm watching the Yankees right now. The Yankees are
10 and a half games back.
Of what, first place?
Yeah.
How far are we out from a wild card spot? I stopped looking because it's just sad. I don't even want to know. It doesn't look good. It's probably not going to happen. And even if it did, I almost don't want them to make the playoffs because they will not do well. I don't believe in them this year, so I don't. But they're
only 3 games away from a wild card spot.
Really? Fuck. It's kind of like it's like I want
it's
it.
Better
but
I know I shouldn't have it. Better to make the playoffs than not make them. I mean, you want to make the playoffs.
I know, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, ooh, Yankee playoff run, get me so excited. I go bananas, but I know it's just going to be devastating. Like, I don't know if I want it. The Yankees are beating the Astros right now 3-2, and they beat the Rays last night. And now you're telling me they're 3 games back from the wild card spot. Like, if they could beat the Rays and Astros back-to-back nights, and then maybe, maybe.
Maybe not.
I want it so bad. A miracle run. all the way to the World Series. Save Aaron Boone's job. Save Brian Cashman's job. Yankee fans are chanting "Fire Cashman" at the games now. Fire Cashman. You know it's bad when they want the GM fired. Trade deadline came and went. Yankees did nothing. They got like 2 guys. One was like a reliever, and then another guy they just sent to the minors. Like nothing. They got nothing. All right. Back to the MMAs. Or how about boxing? Nate Diaz and Jake Paul are fighting this Saturday in a boxing match. We also have Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font this Saturday in Nashville. But also, Fred, we have SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan, where the WWE is going to give you Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler in an MMA rules match, and Brock Lesnar versus one of the biggest stars in WWE, Cody Rhodes. I mean, you look at UFC star power, it's on SummerSlam. It's not in the UFC Nashville card. They got Ronda and Brock on the same show. UFC would never do that. Could you imagine the UFC doing a pay-per-view with Ronda and Brock on the same show? You might have to call that UFC 300. Huh? Come on. That was good. Could happen.
I doubt it, but yeah, it'd be great, man. UFC would love it. It would help Dana to forget a little bit of Conor. If both Ronda and Brock came back, maybe Dana stops like wishing Conor comes back. he would still want him back, but he wouldn't be as much a Conor fan.
Wouldn't need it as much, right? If you got Ronda and Brock, I mean, you're doing well. Yankees just got out of a little jam there. That was pretty exciting. Nice play. We're doing good. All right. I'm getting too much Yankee hope over here. I'm getting excited. What are you going to watch? Because I know what I'm going to watch on Saturday. It's not Jake Paul. It's not UFC. You're going fishing. You're not watching anything. I'm going to watch SummerSlam. Because I'm doing the SummerSlam post show right after SummerSlam right here on the Ringside Report Network with Johnny North, and I think my brother, too. It's going to be a big party. Biggest party of the summer. Summerfest. SummerSlam. So that's coming up Saturday, and that's what I'm excited
Please don't
about.
spoil me. I plan on watching it Sunday when I come back from fishing.
Okay.
Sunday afternoon, so don't talk about it on the chat. Keep it for yourself.
All right. Sunday afternoon. What do you mean don't talk about it on the chat?
Well, I mean, like, SummerSlam is Saturday.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not going to be there, but I'm still going to have my phone. So don't be like to AJ.
Oh,
AJ,
group chat. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, AJ, you should have seen what Brock did to Cody, man. It was incredible, man. Yeah, I don't need to know all that.
I won't tell you. I won't spoil SummerSlam for you. Lior disappointed that we're getting Shayna Ronda, but not Trish and Becky. Trish and Becky got pushed to Raw in a couple weeks' time on in Winnipeg for some reason. I think it was apparently Fightful, I think, reported that it was a time constraint issue. So it's funny. When John wrote SAS, I thought he meant SRS, and I thought he had me fighting that Sean Ross Sapp guy from Fightful. I was like, why am I fighting him, John? What's this? Would not be a close fight. He didn't say who would win, though, either. He said, me and Stephen A. Smith wouldn't be a close fight. Does that mean Stephen A. Smith would kick my ass? Or is he saying the other way around? I would beat up Stephen A. Smith easily?
Of course.
Oh.
Of course.
Nice. He's big, though, no?
No. It's
not that big?
Come on, man. Well, I mean, he might be fat, but he's not big. And you know what, Dave? He only has one more point than you in his college career because he played college ball.
Yeah.
And in his college career, he has 1 point. So
seriously,
he only has 1 point. Yeah, he only has 1 point more than you. So he's not, he's nothing special.
Yeah. I mean, I could not play college basketball. No team would take me because I'm way too short for basketball. That's not happening. I also can't really dribble a basketball that good. Can you do the thing where you do a cross in between your legs? I can't do that. Nope. I had friends who could do that. They would like dribble the ball and then they would dribble it between their legs and back and forth. And I'd be like, What is that? How do you do that? I would try it and fail miserably. They do it as they're like running and walking. I'd be like, how do you do that? Crazy. I can't do that. I have no basketball skills. He could probably beat me in basketball, but I could probably beat him in a fight, I guess. Probably. I'm not going to say for sure. I don't want to big myself up here, but probably. I'm not so bad. Fred knows I'm okay. Okay. You got a pick for Nate Diaz, Jake Paul? They've been real mad at each other. They've been doing press conferences where they're getting mad and yelling and screaming. I know AJ wishes he was on the show right now so he could talk about how great this fight is and how big of a deal it is, but I see it as a sideshow. It really doesn't mean much to me. I would like Nate Diaz to knock Jake Paul out in the first round. I think that would be hilarious. But somehow I don't see that happening.
How many rounds is it?
I think it's 8 or 10. I mean, I really am not looking into it because, I don't care that much. It's not anything that means much to me. It's not an MMA fight. It's Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury. Jake Paul's no world champion boxer. Like, at least before he lost to Tommy Fury, you could think, oh, maybe this guy's, like, kind of good. And then he had that, like, weak-ass fight with Tommy Fury that we watched for some reason. It was like, this guy's not that good at boxing. And then if it's even close with Nate Diaz, let alone Jake winning, which is totally possible, he might knock Nate Diaz unconscious with a punch, which would be the ultimate sadness. No one wants to see that, but it might happen. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care either way. If Nate beats him, good. It'll be a nice highlight for YouTube or Twitter or X, Like a little gif of Nate punching him and knocking him unconscious is cool. But other than that, man, it is what it is. Get it over with. And I really don't want to see Jake Paul hang in there with Nate, make it close, beat him. Like, beat him in a decision. Like, come on, man. It sucks.
Let me give you some bad analysis.
Nice.
I'm not a boxing expert, far from it, but
don't
I'm
admit that. Be Stephen A. Smith. Just say pretend.
I'm a little scared for Nate for one thing. Is I feel Nate doesn't move that much. He likes to stay in front and trade punches, and if Jake is able to move, he might be able to hurt a little bit of Nate Diaz. And I don't know. I was looking. You see, I didn't watch all the press conference, but I watched some of it, and I felt like the way Nate was walking and all that, I don't know. It just felt stiff, and I'm like, this guy might not be like the smoothest boxer to bob and weave and all that. So we'll see, but I'm still picking Nate. He has way more fighting experience, and he's also sparred with some very good boxer. I believe he in the past he's trained with Andre Ward and other guys. So I'm gonna go with Nate, man. He has way more fighting experience, and he should win that. Please, Nate, come on, win it, man.
He should. And we always heard, like, Nate Diaz is some of the best boxing in MMA. And if he goes over to boxing and loses to this Jake Paul character, it's profoundly sad. But Jake Paul's bigger, younger, and he's been boxing professionally probably more than Nate has. Right? Like, Nate doesn't have many pro boxing fights. Maybe he's got one. I don't know. But Jake Paul's been boxing. And this is a Jake Paul presentation. This is the Jake Paul show that Nate happens to be the guest star on. And when you're the guest star in a boxing match, things don't always go your way. With the refs, with the judging, with the rules, with whatever. The walkouts, everything is kind of slanted towards Jake Paul. AJ says Jake Paul's going to knock out Diaz in round 3. I hope not. I think Nate loses a decision because that's how boxing works. I think it'll be close, sadly close, and Nate will lose by judges' scorecards. And it'll probably be similar to the Anderson-Silva fight where a lot of us thought, like, isn't Anderson winning some of these rounds here? What's going on? And then in the end, they just give it to Jake Paul. He won all the rounds. I'm not a boxing expert either. I don't know. I don't know the criteria of boxing scoring. It seems like whoever hits the guy more should win, but maybe not. It's just sad, man. I don't want to see it. It lowers MMA. That the biggest stars in MMA are not fighting the biggest stars in boxing. They're fighting this jabroni. You know? And losing. It's really sad. Makes MMA look bad to fight this guy, and especially to fight this guy and lose. Anderson Silva fought this guy and got dropped and then lost a decision. That sucks for MMA. I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. I'm going to watch SummerSlam. Because that's a win for MMA. You look at Ronda Rousey, you look at Brock Lesnar, their MMA careers are done. They don't go get beat up by some jabroni Jake Paul. They go to WWE and they dominate the competition. Logan Paul is on SummerSlam. You think Brock Lesnar would do the job to Logan Paul in WWE? Could you imagine what would happen if they booked Logan Paul versus Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar would annihilate that boy. I kind of wish that they would do that, actually. That would be kind of cool. After Logan Paul beats Ricochet at SummerSlam, maybe we do Brock Logan Paul. I think I just stumbled upon a money match here. WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul. Everybody hates Logan Paul, and you get to see the beast incarnate tear him to pieces. And it's like a work, but you know how Brock works. He's real snug. And he's a monster, so what are you going to do? Oof. Logan Paul might piss Brock off so much that Brock, is a little careless. Dumps him on his head a few times. Hurts him. What I'm saying is, you see these people from MMA go into pro wrestling, and they succeed, and they have, they're treated with respect and dignity, whereas some of these MMA fighters go into boxing, and it's like, well, this is our show, and we're going to beat you up. Show you how it is. I don't like it. Like, what do you think is going to happen to Francis Ngannou when he fights Tyson Fury? Like, he'll get paid, but... I mean, we had our brightest star in MMA, the biggest name ever. He got drawn in by that big boxing money, those big bright lights of Floyd Mayweather. And what happened? Conor lost. It was a big win for boxing. Made Conor look less legit. And then he went back to MMA and started losing fights, and everybody said, wow, he's never that good to begin with. Big loss for MMA. If Conor stays in MMA and keeps winning like the star rises, the UFC goes up, his fight with Mayweather, big win for Conor, personally, financially, but for MMA, fucked up the game in a way. You know what I mean? Like, made MMA look shitty, screwed up Conor's career, made him less of a slave to the UFC, like he had no reason to kind of do whatever the fuck they wanted. But
I mean, you're probably right to the everyday people. They see it as like, oh, Conor lost in a fighting sport, but the real fight people that know the fight game, it's two different sports. So I don't feel like, but yeah, you're right. It did tarnish a little bit the MMA and also Conor for him to lose to Mayweather, because a lot of people don't understand the differences between all the fighting sports. So me personally, I expected Conor to lose to Mayweather. I would have been completely surprised of the opposite. So I don't see it on a knock as on his MMA career or on his fighting credential. But yeah, a lot of people probably do because they don't understand the difference.
And that's the thing. Because I know what the deal is. But the world that watches, the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, they see, oh, well, that's a win for boxing. That's a loss for MMA. Look, these MMA fighters, their skills aren't as refined as the boxers. That's what they think. They don't have the time, and it's a new sport, and they don't really. It's like, all right.
It's a different sport.
Exactly. But that's not how a lot of those people see it, right? All right, let's go into this fight card we have this weekend. I'm not going to break this thing in depth because they lost their main event. It's barely worth anything. Let's be real. This was supposed to be Umar Nurmagomedov's show. This was supposed to be the Umar show.
Umar got scared.
Umar got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah, he got scared. Corey Sandhagen would have been his first real opponent. Where's Umar?
Umar's undefeated, and he's a Nurmagomedov. You think he's scared? 27
I'm
years
just saying.
old, 16-0, smashing people.
Yeah, a bunch of nobodies.
I don't think Umar got scared. I think Umar got hurt. This was supposed to be the Umar show. I wanted to see Umar. Instead, we got Sandhagen versus Rob Font in a catchweight. 140. I think Sandhagen probably takes it. Sandhagen right now is a favorite. Oh, I'm going to give you a fun parlay this weekend, baby. Oh, it's going to be a fun parlay because Bet99 is hooking it up this weekend with some SummerSlam bets. So we're going to bet on SummerSlam too.
I'm actually interested in why Jessica Andrade is such an underdog. I know Tatiana Suarez a little bit, but why is Jessica Andrade such a big underdog, Dave?
She's lost 2 in a row. Maybe people are starting to think that she's lost it a little bit. That fight, the loss to Yan Xiaonan was surprising. She got knocked out by Yan Xiaonan, and that made people go, "Ooh, what? What?" You know? Who? Tatiana Suarez. I mean, she's 9-0. She's beaten everybody. She finished Carla Esparza. She finished the current champion Alexa Grasso in her first round.
All right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. She's pretty good. What are the odds on that fight?
Minus
375. Tatiana Suarez. I mean, she's like, she's going up and Andrade is going down. That seems like what's happening in that fight.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Andrade is, to me, a solid fighter, even though she's two losses in a row, but it might make sense.
Yeah. I think it does. I've got a Suarez in that fight. What about the main event? You Sandhagen? Font?
Yeah, Sandhagen.
This is tough to give you a parlay for.
I have one.
You have one?
Yeah, I got Sandhagen and Dustin Jacoby.
I like that Jacoby pick. Plus 125 over Kennedy Nezchukwu. And Corey Sandhagen minus 350. The Fred parlay, it's 2 fights. Decent return here. Let's see it. It's the Bet99 Team Fred parlay. Dustin Jacoby plus 125. Corey Sandhagen minus 350. 2 picks. 20 gets you 57.86 over at Bet99.com. And the Astros just tied it up. It's 1-1 or 3.
Oh, they're playing
3-3.
the Astros. You didn't tell me that.
I told
man.
you it's Houston. Yeah, they're playing Houston right now. It's in New York, but the Astros.
Cap.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to see that. I don't want to see that. It's a Team Fred parlay. Dave would not be betting on the Yankees. I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't bet on them to win games.
Let me share this with the people, man, as we have time to waste.
Mm-hmm.
Like last off season during baseball, I remember texting Dave going, New York got Verlander. And for a second, Dave said, oh, yeah. And I said, yeah, but it was the Mets. Now the Mets just sent Verlander back to the Astros. So, yeah, the Astros are getting better. Everybody's getting better, and the Yankees aren't getting better, man. Bad, man. Yankees aren't making the playoffs. I said it.
Yeah, I don't think they are either. And I'm almost not wanting them to make the playoffs. Like, I can't. There's a part of me that goes, oh, it'd be nice. It'd be cool. Maybe. You never know. If they go on a little run here in August. But then I think, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. They have pieces that are good, but the team is just not working. I don't think they're making the playoffs. It's too bad. But, yeah, they're not getting better. And they're making some weird moves. I don't know what's happening. Domingo Herman just had to... I mean, you see what happened with Herman? Like, they found him, drunk. He came to the game drunk, basically. And now they're sending him to rehab. So his season is over. This guy got suspended earlier this season because his hands were sticky. Comes back from suspension. He pitched a perfect game against the Oakland A's. And now his season is done. because he's going to rehab for alcohol problems. Yeah, right? It's a hell of a season.
Wish him the best, though. It's
Yeah.
not, something to laugh at. But
No.
yeah.
It's just like, what is happening?
Ups and downs.
But it's kind of emblematic of the Yankees season. You know? There are moments where you're like, oh, man, what is going on here? And then there are other moments where you go, this is incredible. We're the best. Perfect game. This, and then you have other moments, and then it just ends, sadly. And that's really the Yankees season in a nutshell. So Domingo Germán really illustrated what the whole season felt like. Poor guy. All right, I'll give you a parlay. I'll give you my parlay. I'm going to throw Sandhagen in there too. Suarez. All right, and then we're going to make it more interesting. Then we're going to go to the WWE side, and I'll give you some SummerSlam bets. I'll give you Logan Paul.
Oh, man, I don't want to watch the odds, though.
Why not?
Because that's pretty much going to tell me who's the favorite, who's going to win.
No, I'm telling you, last WWE event, I think it was, we looked at the odds, and a bunch of underdogs won. Like, Damian Priest was not supposed to win Money in the Bank. He was maybe the second favorite or third favorite, but he was not like the favorite to win. A lot of favorites didn't win in the wrestling. I'm going to give you a 3-match parlay, all super favorites, so you got to parlay them to make it worth your while. But I'm going with Corey Sandhagen in the main event, Tatiana Suarez in the co-main event. Your return is garbage so far. And we're going to go with Logan Paul over Ricochet, minus 400. So I am picking one Paul brother this weekend. 20 will get you 40. Really just doubling your money with a 3-fight parlay. It is not great. But it's not a great UFC fight card as far as the bets. But I'll tell you something. Lock of the weekend is Logan Paul. He's winning. Put everything on Logan Paul. He is winning. I don't know what the limit is on Bet99, what you could do for... But let's say you put $100 on Logan Paul, you make $125. I mean, I don't know. It's not great, but $500. It's a little better. I think Logan Paul is a lock of the weekend to beat Richard O'Shea. It's going to happen. You want me to show you the betting odds for the SummerSlam Slim Jim Battle Royal? You don't want to look at that? Not even the Slim Jim Battle Royal.
Keep it for your show tomorrow, man.
I can't even tell you who the favorite is.
I don't even know who's participating.
Let me talk to you. I just gave it away. If you're paying close attention, but you'd have to be paying real close attention. Let me talk to you. Yeah. You know that guy?
Is it the English guy?
No. L.A. Knight.
But isn't he from England or something like that?
He's American.
He's an American?
Yeah. Slim Jim Battle Royal, Lior. SummerSlam Slim Jim Battle Royal, pal. That's what they're calling it. It's sponsored by Slim Jim. It's at SummerSlam. I have no reason why they're doing this Battle Royal other than they want to do a match to fit in a bunch of people at SummerSlam, and they got this new sponsorship with Slim Jim, and they're trying to make it spicy. Spicy pepperoni, baby. Yeah. All right. I think we're done. We're done here. I think we've done enough damage, right? We will be back. I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored. We'll be talking about SummerSlam. We'll be previewing SummerSlam. And maybe we'll talk about some other things in pro wrestling. I don't know if Johnny watched that Lufisto interview. I was just watching that with the Sean Ross Sapp there on Fightful. Lufisto said a bunch of stuff about AEW. Very interesting stuff. Unfortunate. But I will be back here tomorrow night with Johnny North. Maybe we'll talk about that stuff. I don't know if Johnny wants to, but if he does, we will. Tomorrow night we'll definitely preview SummerSlam and whatever else is on your mind professional wrestling-wise. And then we'll be back Saturday night right after SummerSlam for the SummerSlam post-show. And Fred, AJ, and I will be back next Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. No, 8 p.m., right? 8 p.m.? That's when we're on. Thursday nights at 8. AJ will be back next week, and we'll do that. Oh, Leor wants to know if we'll cover Dark Side of the Ring tomorrow, the Bash at the Beach episode. We could. I was a little disappointed they didn't get Hogan, because to me, if you're going to do an episode on the Bash at the Beach 2000, you kind of have to have Hulk Hogan on the show, because he was a central figure in that, but I guess they couldn't get Big Terry, which doesn't surprise me. All right, guys, we could cover that tomorrow night right here on the Ringside Report Network. Don't leave yet, folks. Please listen to this short message on behalf of Dave, Johnny, Fred, and AJ, and the Ringside Report Network.
Thank you all for joining us today for this live broadcast. But before we wrap up, we have an exciting opportunity for you, our loyal viewers. If you're a true fan of the ringside and octagon action and want to stay at the forefront of all things wrestling and MMA, then becoming a member of the Ringside Report Network is an absolute must. By signing up, you'll gain exclusive access to the best coverage, in-depth analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and much more. You will also get priority access to call into our shows, including live UFC watch-alongs and pro wrestling pay-per-view post-shows. So hit that subscribe button, become a member, and never miss out on any of the heart-pounding moments again. Together, we'll journey into the world of sports entertainment like never before. The easiest way to become a member for only $5 per month is to sign up at membership.ringsidereport.net. Or if you prefer a YouTube channel membership, head to join.ringsidereport.net. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, please spread the word and tell your friends and share this episode. Thank you once again for joining us, and we can't wait to welcome you as part of our Ringside Report Network family. Until next time, stay passionate, stay connected, and keep enjoying the thrill of wrestling and MMA.